Hey, hey, hey. It has been a long time. Are we live? How do I check if we're live? Hang tight, guys. Like Wrangler Star says, nothing but the best production here. That one is dead. Oh, man. I have no idea if I'm live. See Trooper back there. He doesn't know what's going on. I see him. Hey, Trippy. Yeah, it says I'm streaming. So let me bring up another browser. There we go. I do see somebody in the chat. Awesome. Shab live. So we are live. All right. It's been a while. It's been a long time since I did a live stream. So here we are. Hang on. I got a cough. I'm on mute. Nothing but the best production here, guys. So, King, you're my top fan. You got a crown. Ahashta Nagila. Yeah, Nagila. So, it has been a long time since we did a live stream. I kind of checked out of YouTube for a while there. I just got busy, and then I started doing videos again. And then I tried to maintain one or two a week, and that all came crashing down a few weeks ago. So I am here to. I need a shoulder to cry on, as you could say. No, we're just gonna have a big old pity party. Yeah, we've been just we're good to go. Our family's good, but vehicle situations lately have been everything just comes crumbling around. It just kind of creeps falling around us. So I'll get into that a little bit, but I'll give you some guys some updates on our family. I was gonna do some. I was gonna do some like bi-weekly vlogs, just to keep you guys updated on what's going on. That is just hard for me. I am so busy with work, and then getting things done. I do all our own, I work construction, carpentry. And then I got to come home and I work on our vehicles, and we don't drive new ones. And helping family out. When you're related to Amish family, there's always a need there for people with vehicles and internet. So that all takes a lot. But how's the audio, Nagila? I wonder if I can mute sound and bring up my channel. So I'm on OBS, and I'm on OBS, and I can't really see anything that's going on. So let's just go to content, my channel. How do I do that even? Oh, it's been so bad. Let's YouTube Studio, view your channel. There we go. And content, live. Yep, there we are. So we're just gonna here. There we go. So Amos joined us. Awesome. Audio's good. That sounds awesome. Perfect. We have a few watching, so that's all that matters. Yeah. I am sorry for the rough start. This will take a bit to kind of remember how to do all this. But yeah, just any comment, anything you guys want, what you can share with what your life is going on, whatever you guys are doing in your lives, any questions, anything like that, I will do my best to answer. KS, audio is good. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'm using a new mic. Josh Schwartzentruber from, we text back and forth. We've had some phone calls. He has a channel, Shed Happens, SHED Happens. And he recommended these mics, which are affordable, and I think I really like them. They are, we'll see how they sound after the live stream, but they're super convenient. So yeah, that's awesome. He suggested those docs. There's a chat. Okay, so yeah, so we've been, yeah, really busy work. We're building a addition on a house, and up until the 4th of July, it was crunch time because they were going to have it was a lake house. They're going to have a party there, so we needed to get a bunch of stuff done. So we're working some extra hours, and we bought that property. We started cleaning it up because we want to build a house on it someday, and we haven't mowed there for a while because the lawnmower's been down, been waiting on parts, and then our vehicles just started dying on us. So thank you, Amos and KS, for letting me know. Denise Walters, audio's good deal. Was Vash. Amius Miesta was Vashtu on Sundalk. Fashdog. I'm not sure what you're saying, something about Sunday, but vehicle problems can be very stressful. We just went through that. We'll pray for you guys. Yeah, thank you, KS. So, I might as well share our experience here the last 3 weeks. It's, I'm convinced it feels like spiritual warfare. Why? I don't know. Is something, is something. I feel like we're in, I don't know how my wife feels. I need to talk to her about this, but like I'm in a spot where I'm unsettled, a little unsatisfied. And I think, is there something that God has for me or us as a family? That, are we entering a different season or something? But I feel like it's, spiritual warfare with everything that happened, and I just don't know why yet. So, and I might be wrong. It might just be coincidence. I don't know. It's definitely tested my patience. I have cussed a few times, and I'm not depressed. I'm just kind of, so much has happened. I'm just kind of like, it's just another thing. Like I'm not mad at God or anything like that. I know He's got us, and everything is going to be good. It's just a little overwhelming, but so we'll get into that. But hey, other updates. Miranda is working 1 day a week for a gardening place. They sell veggies to 5-star Michelin chefs in Chicago. She's enjoying that. It's kind of hard to find a job around here that takes 15-year-olds. So we're grateful for her 1 day a week. And I'm still running Saturdays with my brother and some of his, the Amish guys in his church. It is probably the only Amish running group there is, especially in this area. And hopefully it breeds more, starts more running groups. My diet was good. I was losing some weight that I wanted to up until this 3-week fiasco we've been in. It just kind of fell by the wayside, unfortunately. Sundalk is I'm not sure what you're saying. You must be real German. I do not speak the real German. But anyway, so, but still running more than I did last summer because I'm running Saturdays and usually twice on the other 2 weeks. And I'm running in the hills on trails like in Bonneville Mill Park and in Plum Lake Park, which is really good if you want to really up your game. So these guys that I'm running with are younger, and I'm out and I'm kind of leading the pack, you could say, almost. My brother, he'll catch up with me here fast, but I'm doing just as good as them, let's say that. My fuzzy waters from Aldi's, I just call them fuzzy waters. Gixie Vossel. So yeah, the car situation. So 2 weeks. So we had, when I moved to Idaho, when I was still in Amish clothes, Amish haircut, I went to a dealership and I bought a 2011 Ford Escape with 60,000 miles on it. And I put a hitch on it and a trailer, loaded all my things, and I headed west. From where I lived, it was the day after my sister got married. I loaded up and I headed out. Me and my dog and everything that fit in the trailer and the Escape headed west to Idaho. And that changed my life forever. We have had that car. Eventually, I ended up, when I got married, I gave it to my wife because it's better on gas. And we have had that car since. Well, this year it finally gave out at 32,000 miles, something like that. It was an awesome car. It didn't take a lot of maintenance. It had a bent valve, so I did have to take the heads off and fix that one time. But other than that, like the shocks the struts never needed a replacement. It was a really good mountain car too. Great in snow, good on gas, 2.5 liter, rock solid. Like it handled trailers better than like my Ford Ranger does, I think. Better than the Dodge Durango we used to have. Oh, that Dodge Durango was that was a hateful thing. But so that gave out and we upgraded. I'll get to you guys' comments here in a little bit. We upgraded. We decided we wanted a Ford Explorer. So we bought a 2018 Ford Explorer. And it came with the bells and whistles, the heated seats and all that stuff. Heated steering wheel, dual climate control. It was more like this was fancy. We kind of loved it and we hated it in a way. It was too fancy for us. We kind of like simple. But we also loved it. It was roomy. It drove nice. It looked really, really good. But we bought it with a salvage title, so we get it a little bit cheaper. And I had to put some work into it. I installed a hitch. I took the old hitch off that was bent because it was rear-ended, and put a new hitch on it. I had to bend and pull the body back into shape a little bit. Put a new bumper on it, and then we drove it for a while. And then I replaced the brakes and the rotors and a new wheel bearing. And it was, coming into the 4th, the week before the 4th, we had planned on the 4th of July, I had 4 days off from work. And I've been going swamped, just busy. YouTube, property, work, extra hours of work. I was getting burned out. I needed to get away from here and go camping somewhere. I needed some woods, some pine, the smell of pines. And somewhere where I wouldn't work, where I could just chill and do nothing. Excuse me. So leading up to that, the car needed brakes and rotors. And then the computer gave out behind the stereo, so we didn't have any radio or navigation system. So I ordered a new one, installed that. It was really easy, but about $300. And the rotors and brakes were probably $300 for all the front rotors and brakes. And then I heard some rubbing still, so I realized the wheel bearing was going out. So I replaced the wheel bearing, which was another $275. And here in Michigan, with the salt, the corrosion, and the rust, that car was down for two days until I figured out how to get that wheel bearing out of there. I hate working on cars here. In the process of trying to beat it out of there, I nicked the CV shaft boot, and all the oil started coming out. And this was like 2 days before the 4th of July weekend, when we were all kind of excited for going on this 4-day camping trip up in the UP, the much needed, especially for me. But a few days prior to that trip, my little Ford Ranger started acting up. It was hard to start and it kind of idled rough. But that can be fixed later. Let's get this Ford Explorer, a little teardrop hooked up. We got the teardrop ready. I had to fix some stuff on the teardrop. Like I put a new countertop in, and I had to fix some gas line fittings because they were bad, and I had to put a new battery in it, install that. So I got all that ready, got it cleaned up, got it loaded up, and Friday morning on the 4th, we all loaded up. We hit the road 7:30 in the morning. We decided, you know what, we're going to go up to Five Lakes, which is like a half mile from our house, the Five Lakes coffee place. We're going to grab some coffee, and then we're going to head north to the Upper Peninsula. When we got down to Five Lakes, they were closed. Obviously, it was the 4th. So we turned around behind their building in the parking lot, back on the road. And as we were coming through the downtown intersection, we hit another car and met him right in the middle of the intersection. We hit him dead center. Totaled our car. So we didn't even make it out of town. Didn't even make it out of town. That car was down. My truck wasn't working properly, and I had my work van, which is horrible to drive. It's a 2002. It's an old car. My truck is a 2002, but it's still in decent shape. So here we go. Here's a much needed vacation that I needed badly. We had just spent a couple months prior a lot of time looking for a new car. We'd found one. We fixed it up. I put the time fixing it up. I just got done putting $1,000 in it, and now it's total out. And we can't. My wife was excited to go. She normally doesn't get that excited about trips. My daughter was excited, and we can't go anywhere. And we can't take the truck. That's a little Ranger. It doesn't have any proper room to sit in, you know, for 2 people. Then those little jumper seats in the back. We were discouraged. So we just that Saturday I just took off. I just slept. Like, I just hung around the house. I did nothing. I slept. That Friday actually. Then Saturday we started looking for cars. I went traveling around. We looked on Facebook looking for cars. In the meantime, I'm trying to get the truck working. The truck also had this loud noise from the tires. My tires were all 4 of them were cupped because, well, I put new tires on it. All of a sudden they started cupping. They were getting louder, you know, the woo, 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 woo sound. I changed the shocks. It wasn't that. They got worse. The tire place told me alignment. I got an alignment. It wasn't bad. Wasn't that. They kept getting worse. And finally discovered that my sway bar link was completely rotted through. So I replaced that, now thinking, well, the problem, the thing causing my tires to cup is now done, is now fixed. But now I have these tires that just make this sounds like a jet engine taking off going down the road. And the faster you go, the louder. So on Saturday, after the accident, everybody was all right. We were only going 25, 30 miles an hour each car. I think they were all right. And the fault, the police report, both of us claimed we were going through a green light. I'm pretty sure we had the green light. I don't think they claimed they had a green light, but they were either lying to the officer or they had no clue what color their light was, because we came to a stop 30 feet later and we all looked and we had the green light. So I can't remember what color it was before. I assumed it was green, but I could be wrong. But right after the accident, we had the green light, which means that if I ran the red light, they had a yellow light. And they told the cop they had a green light. So they either don't know or they were lying. So I'm thinking it was their fault. Still could be they had a yellow light, which is fine. It would have been my fault, but I'm thinking they ran. I don't know how I would have missed the red light. I don't know how Miranda's usually attentive, how she would have missed that. So we're going to blame it on them. Oh, this car, it was the right color. The Ford Explorer was the right color. It had the graphite trim. It didn't have the chrome, it had the black wheel. Oh, it was a beautiful car. And now we can't find another one like it. It really sucked. We're really bummed out about that. We fell in love with that car, even though it was a little too fancy. Anyway, this is my sob story. So yeah, back to the Ranger. So on Saturday, I'm working on the Ranger. The tire cupping problem is fixed. So now I decided, just in case it's still something else, I'm going to go put some cheap Walmart tires on my truck. So I go to Walmart and I get tires for $500. These are all-terrain truck tires. What a painful experience at Walmart. Man, I knew it going in. I didn't want to buy tires there. I hate Walmart. I hate supporting Walmart. I hate the people who shop at Walmart. I don't hate them, but the people who shop at Walmart usually do it in their pajamas, and it just disgusts me, to be honest. The people working at Walmart, I don't know if they don't pay them a lot, but it just does not seem like they're excited about being there at all, ever. It was a very painful experience getting tires at Walmart. I don't think I'll ever do it again if I can help it. So, I see PAEMT, FF9. Yeah, sadly, a dash cam is almost a necessity these days. Yeah, that is in our future, for sure. Yeah, for sure. So, we got the Walmart tires, and I'm excited. I paid this $500 for these cheap tires that I know that I'm not going to like, but I don't want to put another set of 1,200 tires. The tires I had on there cost me over $1,200. They were really good tires, and I didn't want to ruin another set of $1,200 tires. So just in case, we'll put these Chinese junky Walmart stuff on there, and I'm excited. I get the keys back. I go out in my truck. I'm like, yes, finally I can drive a quiet truck, because this thing was getting louder and louder every time I drove it. I actually have a subwoofer in the back, and that helped drown out some of the noise, but it was still so annoying. I do not understand. I do not understand how these young kids can drive these jacked up trucks with these wide tires that just going down the road. That would drive me crazy. But anyway, so I jump in the car and I drive down the road, and it's still, like, it's a little bit quieter. I can tell I have no tire noise. But there's still this like whatever sound, and I'm just, now what? So, like, I'm thinking, okay, it's got to be a wheel bearing, because that's how they sound when they go bad. So I take the truck home. I jack the front end up, check both wheels. Front wheels, they're super tight, no movement at all. So I go back, I jack up the back end of the truck. It sounded like it was coming from the front. When you turn hard right, the sound went away. That tells me wheel bearing, but there was no movement. So I was like, okay, it's not the wheel bearing. So I jack up the back end of the truck, and I check those tires, those wheels. A little bit of, there wasn't side to side, but there was up and down, just a little bit of up and down, slop, clunky movement. I'm like, all right. Maybe the sound's vibrating to the front. So I changed those wheel bearings, both of them. And while I was changing those, I put new wheel bearings on. It's just regular, replace the stock wheel bearings. Brand new installed. You got to take the pumpkin apart. It's not really that hard, but you got to drain the oil. Need to be done anyway. Put the new ones on, double checked it, up and down slop. Are you kidding me? So if the new ones have up and down slop, that means it probably wasn't the old ones. Anyway, so I discovered axle repair bearings. So I went and bought axle repair bearings. That is, if your axle's worn, you can put these bearings in. It moves where the bearing location is to an unworn spot, and it makes them tighter. So I did that. It does make the wheels tighter, but at that point I knew it's not the rear bearings making the noise. So I was a little discouraged. Then I started looking into pinion and carrier bearings, which are in the pumpkin. I saw a few shavings in there, but nothing felt weird. So I was discouraged. I was thinking, okay, if it's the pumpkin bearings, those are far harder to change, and I'm gonna have to pay somebody $1,200 to change that. So hey, Daryl, I see Daryl and Creative Woodworks is here. Arnie Creative, yep, it's good to see you guys again. It's good to be back. The last couple of weeks have been discouraging, as I'm explaining here. So now I've changed these bearings for nothing. I have new cheap tires on my truck, and I still have the noise. So I reevaluate things. I went to the Google, and I Googled, because it just the fact that when you turn sharp right, the sound goes away. It kept telling me it's a wheel bearing, but still no play either way in my front tires. But so I Googled. I went to the Google and Googled, can wheel bearings be bad and not have any play? And it said yes, wheel bearings can go bad and still be tight or not have play. So there I knew. Then I knew. So I spent another $300, and I don't know how many hours. Well, that one didn't take another 200 bucks for a front wheel bearing on my Ford Ranger. Replaced that. Didn't have to do the back ones, but I did. I guess it's done now. But yeah, now the sound, now this thing is quiet. Oh, I can hear the hum. I can hear the hum of these cheap Walmart tires. Now I'll have to suffer through that for a while. But because they're a little bit louder than my $1,200 Firestones I had on there. But yeah, so it was the front wheel bearing. Finally fixed. I am so glad. I can hear my stereo system, which sounds pretty sweet because I have a JL Audio, 10-inch JL Audio subwoofer in the back. Those Ford Rangers, and I have a Pioneer head unit with some Infinity aftermarket speakers in there. The aftermarket speakers, Infinity ones, sounded good, other than with all the bass that was going through them, there was a lot of rattle in the truck. So I decided I'm going to take that off and bought a used subwoofer. I know I'm a child, but man, it sounds awesome. It sounds good. I love it. And I have my truck back. Now, the only problem with that is, for some reason, maybe you guys can help me, is when it sits for a while, it starts hard. So I replaced the fuel filter. I'm thinking that might help. But when it sits for 5-6 hours, I have white hair. All right. Yeah. It starts a little hard and it idles a little rough to get going, and then so I'm thinking maybe it's the fuel pump or the pressure regulator, which is in the fuel pump. So I might have to pull the bed and change the fuel pump on that thing. Yeah. Unless it's a vacuum issue of some sort. So that is that's our car dilemma. So that's what I did. Instead of going to the UP and enjoying beautiful pictured rocks and camp and hang out in the pines, smell some campfire, do some cooking, chilling in a chair, hike some trails, I found myself cussing and sweating in the gravel underneath cars, a Ford Ranger, after I'd just done all that work for that Explorer that got totaled. So after that weekend, I had Monday and Tuesday off still. We were going to be gone. I had Monday and Tuesday off. Monday was when I did the bearings. And then Tuesday, we were going to go look for a car. Actually, you know what? No, I didn't do the bearings. The bearings was the weekend after, or some days after. I'm not sure. I didn't do the bearings. Because Tuesday, I borrowed my sister's car, who's in Rumspringa, my 18-year-old sister. We were going to drive 2 hours to look at a Ford Explorer to purchase. So I drove my then still loud Ford Ranger over to my sister's house and traded her cars. And in the morning, and I was headed back to our house to pick up my wife so we could head to Toledo to look at this nice looking Ford Explorer with low miles. My wife had taken the work van, this old 2002 Ford E350 that's loud and rattly, V10 in it. She had taken that to Miranda's work to drop off some clothes, and on the way back, she calls me like, "Hey, something just fell out of the bottom of the van." And I'm thinking, oh no. What had happened is nothing fell out of the bottom of the van, but it blew a spark plug. The V10s, the Triton V10s, are known for blowing spark plugs. The problem with this spark, I had to work Wednesday, the day after, and now I don't have my work van. So the problem with these V10 blowing the spark plug, it was a spark plug that had blown for the third time. So when they blow, what you can do is, the problem is that in the heads, they designed them for some stupid reason with 4 threads that the spark plug turns into. Well, there's so much pressure, those 4 aluminum threads just give out, or the spark plug backs out or something, and the spark plug just pops. It blows, it breaks the ignition coil on its way out, and now you have a big hole inside of your truck. It's going pop, 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 pop. There is an somewhat easy fix. So you can get Calvan kits where you ream out the hole, spark plug hole. You thread it with a bigger thread, and then you put these sleeves in there that have the spark plug size threads on the inside, and you turn it down into the engine. And that takes care of it. Well, the first hole I did like that, because I've done 6 of them now, I think. 8 of them. I've done 8 of them. The first hole I did like that, for some reason, that spark plug came loose one time on me, so I just turned it. The whole sleeve came back out somehow, for some reason. So I just turned it back in and tightened it down, and it worked again for a while. But then, since we didn't have the car anymore and the truck was limping around, I was driving the van more that weekend, and I noticed a tick, 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 and I was like, oh, there's a spark plug coming loose. And I was going to, that evening or the next day, check that very spark plug to make sure that it's tightened up again. But nope, it didn't even make it that far. My wife was driving it. It popped out. It took all the threads with it. And now what? Like, the threads are completely stripped out. I can just push that whole sleeve and spark plug back into that hole. So I do a little bit of research. Some other people say, well, they've taken a different type of sleeve with different size threads, and they've JB welded it in there, and it's worked for thousands of miles. I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm going to try that. Might as well try that. It's right there. So I reamed it out. Oh, I didn't ream it out. I rethreaded it, and I went to put the new spark plug and sleeve back in there with the JB weld on it, and I cranked it down, and I was trying to get it in to go to start on the threads, and it didn't feel like it was starting, and it just didn't start, and then finally I pull the wrench, the socket set, everything back out, and the spark plug was no longer on there. I'm thinking, what the heck? So I grabbed my little camera scope, and I look down into the spark plug hole, and that somehow I had turned that spark plug and sleeve right down on into, and it was laying on top of the piston. So now, now the head's got to come off. But I'm done with the van. I'm buying it. I don't know. The head would have to be replaced. So, not doing that, buying a new van. But now I don't have a van for work. Now we only have the one truck that works. And my wife, no other car. It's just been a mess. So, yeah, we have the one truck. We borrowed a van from some friends, thankfully. And that's where we're at right now. We're still looking for a Ford Explorer. It sucks looking for cars. I hate it. And, there we go. And my Ford Ranger probably still needs a fuel pump. So let's catch up with some comments. That's my sob story. It's just been one thing after another. It is tiring. I've done nothing but work on cars the last couple of weeks, and that's the one thing I hate. And our lawnmower still isn't fixed. That needs to mow the property over there. That's probably overgrown with briars and all such things. So, and YouTube is just fallen by the wayside again. KS says vehicle problems can be very stressful. Oh yeah, read that. Yep, it is. They are. Ready to go back to horse and buggy sometimes, although me and horses don't get along. Dennis says, I hear about used vehicles. Ours is used a year ago in a garage almost every month. Can be depressing. Oh, it's discouraging. Yep. And if you can pay a mechanic, at least, I don't know, they still change the wrong parts too sometimes. You still got to pay for that. But being a shade tree mechanic, a YouTube mechanic, like sometimes you just have to start fixing things and hoping you're getting the right thing. But now I know about wheel bearings, that they can be bad and not have wiggle. Something to keep in mind. Ahash Nagila says, do Amish runners have good running shoes? Just curious. So, yeah, well, I mean, I don't know what good running shoes are. I run barefoot. My brother runs barefoot. In the wintertime, I wear 0 barefoot shoes. Cushiony shoes are a thing of the past for me. I'm no longer interested ever in cushioned shoes, the normal shoes. Yeah, barefoot all the way. It's changed my life forever. I don't have the foot problems I used to. The furthest I've run in my bare feet on pavement was 10 miles. I tried for 12, I think, and I ended up walking some of it. But I did do 12 miles in bare feet. But yeah, we're running. I'm running now. We're running usually 3.5 miles Saturday on pavement barefoot. The other Amish guys, they wear shoes. Probably a lot of Amish wear the Brooks. There's a store that sells Brooks brand around here. I think that's a good brand. Um, so Dennis says, glad your daughter found work. My daughter, 18-year-old, been trying all summer, no luck. Really, Dennis? Where do you guys live? Huh? There's plenty of jobs around here. It's just, yeah, it's hard for 15-year-olds, and it's only one day. So, yeah, we really want full-time job for her. That would have been awesome. We want her to work. She wants to work, but I don't know, like gardening. She's an extrovert, so I think in a restaurant setting where there's people all the time, coffee, a barista or something would be more ideal for her, or childcare, something like that. PAEMT, you must be from Pennsylvania. EMT, yeah. Thank you for you guys. I mean, the fire department heard our crash. We were that close. We were like a block away from them. They were working on their trucks, and they heard the impact. If you've never heard an impact from a car accident, like once you do hear it, you'll know instantly what it is. It just has that certain crunching sound. It was kind of chaotic because they came out of nowhere. There's 4 girls in a car. I had a brick building on my right, and I had, the Ford Explorers unfortunately have a little bit of a wider pillar that I'm not used to. They came from the right. I didn't even see them until we just hit. All of a sudden, they were there, and we hit, and then our phones all started beeping like me. Were you guys in an accident? Blah blah blah, and it's like airbags are going off. Got this weird smell. We got the dog trooper. He was really confused to what was going on. He left a big old scratch on Miranda's leg. He still jumps in cars eagerly with me, but every time, like the first couple of times when I hit the brakes, just regular driving, he would brace himself back into the seat, just because of the trauma he experienced. So engine swap in a buggy is a good bit faster, easier than a car. Yeah, it is. Engine swap. Yeah, you're right. Engine swap in a buggy is faster, easier. I've wondered which one is cheaper, car or buggy? With a car, you have your annual registration and you have your car insurance, which is 200 some bucks. But Amish they insure their horses and buggies, but that's probably a lot cheaper than, well, I don't know. Yeah, it's probably a lot cheaper than car insurance is. And then fuel and maintenance. A horse, you have to feed him all the time, whether you use them or not. And there's still maintenance on a horse. You got to shoe them, and you got the vet bills and stuff like that. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know which one is cheaper. Hay is not cheap. Corn feed is, I don't know how expensive that is, but got to maintain them too. They say there are jobs out there here in PA, but no one seems to be hiring. She's very disappointed. So you're in PA and there's jobs. Is the economy bad? I don't know. Like, I know the RV industry has been tanked for a bit. What are jobs like elsewhere? Like, what's the economy like? I'm oblivious to this. I have no idea we're busy building a house. I'm putting extra hours in. So I really don't know what's going on. I don't like the RV industry. I could always feel it when the economy started hurting. That's usually one of the first things that goes. Denise Walters. Did I just call you Dennis? Denise, I'm sorry. Yeah, thanks to public school education, right? Denise, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, hopefully your daughter can find a job. She's 18. She should. Yeah, man, that's a bummer. I think there's opportunity. I don't know what she's in. Yeah, I'd have to know more. But it is good to know how to fix things. You're blessed. Yes, it is. I'm a YouTuber through and through. I'll learn how to fix it. Sometimes YouTube's a little scant in some areas, some specific tasks, but you just figure it out. I don't know that there's any excuse a guy should be able to figure out how. A guy should be able to work on his own car to a certain extent. I understand if you don't want to tear an engine apart. Well, that scares me, but yeah, you should be capable. You have so much information. It just takes a ton of research on YouTube, and you should be able to do it. Road flare on the front seat works great. LOL. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Creative Woodworks, but yeah. So Denise says we're sorry about the accident. Yeah, it's a bummer, you know, but this is all under God's control. I'm starting to wonder, you know, maybe leading up to us leaving for that trip to the UP, things kept just being really hard. Everything kept being a fight. Everything I tried to do was a fight to do it. And I'm thinking maybe God doesn't want us. Maybe there's a reason God doesn't want us to go. Either that or something awesome is going to happen for God's kingdom and Satan is working against us. But I don't know. But when we were just completely stopped Friday morning before we even left town, that was just the final answer. Like there's no way we could go then. So maybe there is a reason. You know, it ended up our neighbor, Mitchell, my wife takes care of him. He ended up having to go to the hospital because of some kind of blood clotting stuff going on. So would he have been dead when we came back? I don't know. So RZ, yep, bad wheel bearing. RNA Creative Woodworks knows. You've been through it all. There's Daryl. Oh boy, I'm just skipping ahead here. Fuel pump, do fuel pressure test. Yeah, I need to do that. It seems like it runs fine, the Ranger, until, yeah, once I get it started, it seems to lose the pressure if it sits too long. Seeing a common denominator, PAEMT, seeing a common denominator for it, LOA. Yeah, I'll have to eat my words here because I rag on people all the time for driving other vehicles than Toyotas or Fords. And here we sit, fixing. But I'm sticking with my Fords because they're the best. There's no other car compared to them. Maybe Toyotas. That's my wife. You want to say hi? Okay. She doesn't. So I need a cylinder road flare in the front seat. Try it. You mean with the van? Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. We'll just let her go up in smoke, huh? Hey, Shy says, hey, change my name. It's Shiloh talking to you many times on here. If you remember, I absolutely loved your last video. Yeah. Oh, yeah. What was my last video? Was about bathing suits. I need to do a second one to that, but yeah. I see that. Okay, I remember you, Shiloh. We run Ford Explorers and Ford Taurus Interceptors that are ex-police vehicles and get approximately 350 miles before they die. Get them for a decent price, though. Yeah, that's what we keep looking. You know, that Ford Escape. If it was a little bit bigger, don't buy. You got to buy the 2012 or older. The newer Ford Escapes, they put on a car chassis. So the 2012 and older are on a beefier SUV, I think, chassis. There's probably technical terms for it. So they're solid. They handle well. Everything is good about them. We really didn't fix a whole lot. Like, unlike the Dodges we've had, I've had to fix. Dodges are so electrical issue prone. Chrysler, I wouldn't touch one. We had a Dodge Durango that my wife bought, and I was constantly fixing little things on it. Window, motors, thingies, electrical problems. After I burned the engine on that one, the engines were good but there were some mistakes made and I toasted it. It had a stupid radiator configuration up front, but other than that, the engines are good, but so many little things that were just annoying and going out all the time. I would never buy a Dodge again. Just from that Durango and some of the Caravans I bought. And it's not just that specific car, because we got another Durango who kept having the same problems. At least I knew how to fix them, right? Kept doing it over and over. So yeah, I wouldn't touch the Dodges. But the Ford Escape 2012, 2008 to 2012 is a sharp looking car. I mean, it might be a little outdated now, but we loved it. It was great. Like we slept in the back of it. It was a little short for me. That's why we wanted to move to the Explorer. Because when we travel, we just sleep in the back of the car. We don't get hotels. There's truck stop showers if you need a shower. It's the way to do it, cheaper. And yeah, it was a great little mountain car at all-wheel drive. You could plow through. Oh man, we never had problems in the snow. I got stuck once, and that's because I was looking for it, and I got into so deep snow that I sat up on top of it, and I just couldn't go anywhere, so I had to dig myself out. But normal snow driving conditions, it's rock solid. And like I said, I did the valve job on it, which I had to tear the head off, which sucked, but I figured I did that, assuming that it might last another 50,000 miles. Well, it went another 180 on the head job, my first head job ever. And I'm obviously replacing brakes and all that stuff, and I think maybe the water pump once, a few things here and there, but like the shocks, like it's still, like it was solid, yeah. And I was hoping the Ford Explorers are the same way, and I think they will be. They don't have as much rust problems. So as long as I hear the Ford Explorer turbos have problems, but there's ways to take care of that too if you're careful. But there's no need. We don't need the turbo. We don't need speed. The 3.0 is fine. I think there's a few things you got to watch for that. The water pump going out, because that's inside. When that goes out, it's a pain. I don't know why they designed it like that, but it's inside the timing chain cover. So they say at 110, 120,000 miles, 150,000 miles, this water pump goes out, and if you don't catch it, you ruin your engine. If you don't catch it in time, you can ruin your engine. If you don't see the oil in the coolant in your oil and stuff like that, and you just neglect it, it'll toast your motor. I think my brother did that with one of his cars in that engine. So yeah, so the Ford Explorers, we were hopeful for that. That's what we're going to get one. We're set on that now. Still maybe a little bit fancy, and we're not used to, we have a dog. We don't really care so much what we don't need to drive the shiniest vehicle in among friends and family and church. We just look at vehicles as tools, that just practical tools that do the job when we need it. So this Ford Explorer was a little fancy for us, but obviously you can get used to, I'm sure you can get used to remote start and heated seats in the wintertime. Yeah. It's just more things to fix. Good thing about a flat tire, it's only flat on the bottom. Yep, you have a good point there, Jimmy. The rest of the tire is still good. We now live in a Class A motorhome, says Shy. Travel some going on 2 years now, so we firsthand know how bad the RV industry has gotten. Oh yeah, no kidding. That's a nice gig. Are you guys retired? Do you work from home? That'd be interesting to know. That's a dream. Traveling or living in a motorhome. Yeah, if I could work from there, that'd be awesome. I hope to have a job like that someday. My problem is building. I need to build something. So now I'm building things for work. So I go to work and I'm a carpenter, painter, whatever. So I'm doing things. And I come home and I don't want to do it. But when I was driving truck, I needed to be doing something. I needed to be making something. I always need to be making something, it seems like. So how would you do that with a motorhome if you're living in different areas? Pull a garage behind you, right? So that would be a bad fuel pressure regulator, says Creative Woodworks. Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of, and I think in the 2002 Ford Rangers with the 4.0, they are in the fuel pump. So, or by the fuel pump, because they have that. The fuel filter has two lines on the one side, and one line going to the engine. It pumps out quite a bit of pressure through that fuel filter. The fuel filter has that. It pumps through the fuel filter, and then the excess goes back into the fuel tank through the pressure regulator. So I'm assuming I think the easiest way is to pull the bed and change it. Creative Woodworks. I was a Ford mechanic for years, and I love my Ford, but I don't at times. This is why I work with wood now. Yeah, I am with you. You know what? I would love to. Do you have a YouTube channel? R&A Creative Woodworks. I keep seeing your name, and I want to see what you're building. So let me know. Do you have like a YouTube channel or Facebook or something where I can see some of your work? But I'm with you. The mechanic stuff. I had a bloody eye. The wrench slipped off of the nut and I just socked myself right here. I can't say that I acted like a Christian that time. Blood was running down my eye. It was swollen for a while. I was not happy. That was with the bearing situation on the car that got totaled. I should have just waited another week to do that. But liking things to work properly, and especially since we're traveling 7 hours. But hey, nothing that turbocharged or EcoBoost. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Don't buy a Jeep Wrangler. Shai says, mine been having a lot of issues past few years, and I don't do crazy things. And mine for it to break like most people do, and it's still having issues. Yeah, I've owned some Daimler Chrysler products in the past, and I won't again. I won't touch it again. Miranda would love a Jeep Wrangler, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know if those are fine or not, but I don't. I encouraged her to get a Bronco instead. So I've had the least problems with Ford. They all still have their problems, but I've had the least. In the work vans, these E350s, it seems like they last longer if you take care of them than their Chevy competitors. Like it's the van drivers who haul Amish people that drive 15 passenger vans. It seems like those Ford E350s just go longer. Without big problems, the Chevy vans seems like their transmission drops, and they'll have to put a new transmission in at 150, 200,000 miles. Could be wrong, but just from being a part of a Facebook driver group, it seems like that's what's happening. The Jeep Wranglers look pretty sweet though, and if they're done right, like they're capable. Like they're probably the most capable off-road vehicle, and that would be the only reason I ever bought a Daimler Chrysler vehicle. And I think there's other options that I would choose before that. Had a friend who bought a new Jeep Gladiator, had it 2 days, and the motor blew up in it. Really? No kidding. Wonder if that's just not a unicorn, but it's an odd one out, or what? Jeep stands for just empty every pocket. Yeah. Ford, found on roadside dead, is a typical thing like that. But I like my Fords. My hubby works from home, so he can work anywhere. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's the life, isn't it? Our kids all grew up and left, so we sold our huge house and bought a Class A. We love it. Yeah, that's, there's no need to clean a big house. Like it, yeah. My dream, I don't know if we'll ever be in a motorhome. Maybe. That would be awesome. And doing like seasonal jobs here and there. Could be driving jobs. I don't know how my wife would handle that. She likes her garden. But my dream for the future would be, I'm not so much involved in the other two girls' lives because they know their dad, but Miranda's life, she's 15. She's going to be getting married, hopefully, in the next 6-7 years, maybe sooner, 5 years, whatever it may be. And depending on what their lives look like, I'm all for building. I don't want a big baby boomer house, man. This baby boomer mindset's got to go. Like let's minimize here. We don't need all these luxuries. And I would rather live in a small little garden shed type house, or something like a little barnuminium, tiny one. It's easy for my wife to maintain, and somewhere where we can maybe live on their property and help them make house payments or help them do what they do so that they have an easier life, a better life, something different than what we had. not that our lives were horrible, but it's just the the good, the true, and the beautiful. We've missed it with so much technology. We work our butts off uh, so that we can have all these luxuries. And do we need them all? I don't know. She wants a farm. I'm game with her, helping her do chores and stuff for free, just to help support her husband, make it easier for them. If as long as we're not meddling in their lives too much. And I'm not opposed to the other two girls too. It's just we'll see how that all works out. I'm game with helping them too. So Dave says sound is too low, way too low. Is that true? Because I'm bumping in the yellow, almost into the red here. Everybody else said it was fine. Dave, I don't know. Yeah, if other people say it's too low, I can try to turn it up. But yeah, motorhome living, like my dream job would be somewhere in the mountains, even I don't know about Pacific Northwest, Northern California, maybe even in the big redwoods forest somewhere, to be a campground manager, host, owner, where I could just work maintaining a campground. That would be my dream job, where I could just not have an hourly time. I just know I need to take care of this place, and I would do my best to take care of it. And of course, I would be in my element, in in the hill country. That's where I was born and raised, in the wrong area, the flats of northern Indiana. Yep, I was meant for hill country. I envy those Hicks in Tennessee and Kentucky, or those Appalachian people. Maybe I shouldn't. They're very poor, but man, yeah, beautiful. Um, so Creative Woodwork says not yet, working on. So you might be having YouTube. Well, let us know, because I want to see some of your stuff. Yeah, I love woodworking. Appreciate it. I don't know why I don't do it more. I just appreciate seeing like some of those people. Some of you guys do some really good work woodworking. We did own a carpet cleaning business, but the economy took us out, so he got a job working from anywhere. It's a very freeing feeling to live this way. Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. Yep. I'm jealous. I'm a little envious. I would love that. Um, I think the problem with us is I like having projects to work on sometimes, and my wife likes a garden, which keeps you rooted. You can't really just carry a table saw and a chop saw and all these woodworking tools wherever you go. And not like not like a cabinet maker, but just building things. I'm growing really fond of our little campfire area. So we live in town, and behind the house we have a little campfire pit, and it's just been kind of added to. We got a pile of wood there. We have a little garden shed there. It's all rustic looking. I just, when I had time and a need, I just kind of put some stuff together. We hung some string lights up there, and it's very pleasant just sitting out there. And it's rustic, and I love it. I know rustic might be going out, but I love it. And on the property, I think that's one of the first things that we might look into doing is building an outside kitchen that's rustic. And yeah, so I don't know how that all looks, but maybe an L-shaped kitchen outside. I don't know yet. With a campfire pit right there, little fences going around it, so it's kind of private. We're dreaming. So work together to uplift your family. Yeah, exactly. I think, like it's these baby boomers kick their kids out of the house. Go to college, go get a job, go work your butt off, blah, blah, blah. And they don't want anything to do with them. They want their lake houses and their jet skis and their boats and their side by sides, and baby boomers irritate me. and they sit there and they yell at their TV, and they believe everything that comes off of that TV. They believe. It drives me nuts. Fortunately, the world's waking up. Fortunately, ironically, I think a lot through TikTok and social media videos like that. TikTok, the YouTube shorts, stuff like that. Everybody's watching a ton of that, and maybe it just comes across my feed, but there's really a lot of good content where people are encouraging others to take a look at the food that we're eating, that maybe it is poisoning us, and that, medicines are not. Those are bad for us and all that, and all the cloud seeding and stuff, all that truth stuff that's going on, that's no longer a conspiracy theory. The vaccines and stuff like that. So there is a shift, at least for some people, to come back to the good, and I'm excited. I'm excited with it, to see what the next 20 years brings. So Shai says, yes, that's what I've always said. You don't need all the luxuries to live. You can get caught up in that and lose sight of what's important. What's important, enjoying life. Exactly. That's where I have come to this week, these past couple of weeks, is the more luxuries we have, the harder we have to work to buy them, the longer we have to work, and the more things you got to fix and maintain and clean up. It's insane. It's insane what little knickknacks you're attracted to and you buy off of Amazon because you think it makes life better. And then you're just clogged. It's just, I am starting to envy Native Americans. I'm starting to envy these Indians that lived here before we did, because I know they were starving through the winter a lot. They were poor, but think about it, man. You have your teepee that can move if need be. You can build a wigwam somewhere else, but you lived in groups, and you woke up not to an alarm clock before daylight unless you wanted to. But you slept, and your whole existence was making sure you had food and shelter. Like there was not, everything else was fun and games. It was dangerous. Raiding other parties and stuff like that. That lifestyle was dangerous, yes, for sure. But going on hunts was dangerous. But you know what? I'm the more danger that we men, not the women, but we men have in our lives, the more alive we are. The more we can bond with each other. I think the more alive we are. And we just don't have any. We don't have any of that nowadays. So I'm starting to envy them, because they woke up and they had to make sure they had enough food, and then obviously set some aside for the winter. So starting to envy them. They didn't have to fix cars. They were so capable physically, they could just walk anywhere or do stuff like that. Tell me what have you guys ever thought of that? Or even like the pioneers. If they had a cabin to live in, and they could, they worked all day long. I get that. I do anyway. But just as long as they had food on the table and split wood to keep them warm in a shelter. That's all that they really needed. Clothes. If you're native, you can do buckskin. It's just work, and all the work you do is for yourself. That would seem freeing to me. We've definitely bitten into the slave system with all our goodies. But unfortunately now you can't just go buy a piece of property and put a TP on it and live in it. Just ain't gonna work. They'll come and get you. Shai says, yes, that's what I've always said. You don't need all the luxuries to live in. You get caught up. Oh yeah, we just read that. You can get jobs at campsites. You get the spot free and work the campground doing different things. Some will also pay you too. Yeah, I've heard of that. being a campground host. I would actually prefer to take a bit of a rundown campground and fix it up as I'm working there. So if I could find a campground that needed somebody who's capable of fixing things, cabins, even building a little cabins and renting them out or whatever, that would be ideal. If I could just get a yearly salary with agreed amount of hours, maybe per week. So if I wanted to take 2 days off, I would work extra hours a week before or whatever, or I just work. That would be a dream job. If it had a restaurant, my wife could cook. Anybody know anybody out west? Or even out in the Appalachian range. We'd probably move out west. Idaho would be ideal. But Melanie says sound volume's okay, so it must just be Dave had to turn it up a little bit. Henri Codger, I almost completely missed this live. Rock on, hey Henri, Codger, I'm still trying to find you a good Amish woman. I'm keeping my ears tuned. Of course, I only know this one community, but I'm still looking. If I hear of one, I'll try. I got to find a way to get a hold of you. Maybe I'll make a specific video just for you. But I think it's you that wanted a good Amish woman that cooks. So yeah, that'd be awesome. I wouldn't. You know scripture, so I don't think you could go Amish. Creative Woodwork says, I asked people, do you feel life is better now or years ago? People were closer when I was growing up and we helped our neighbors. Family was number one in our lives. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's I hope there's a swing back towards that. So I can't imagine, I guess, I don't know, I haven't been a parent that has married kids. So I imagine, we still have to make money, but if we're living off of Social Security, if we can somehow help our children advance their lives in a way that's better for them, not just, whether it be a business or farm or whatever it may be, but just a healthier life, not a greedy, life, but just healthier. With the wives staying at home. That ideally when you're raising kids, that's the best case scenario. The wives raising the kids. Ideally, having both parents at home is really how, when we look into and we're like, we lost our morals when the women started going into the workforce. But not really. I think we lost it hundreds of years ago when the men started going into the workforce. When the men started having to go to work every day. It used to be businesses were from home. The wife and the husband were at home working together, farming. It's just in the last 150, 200 years that I think that the men started actually going to work daily. So I don't know how we get it back. I don't know. It's kind of hard to be able to afford 160 acres and make a living off of that. It's just hard. It's just too expensive now. So yeah, if you guys got ideas, let me know. Henri Codger says he has his fingers crossed. Don't get your hopes up. Man, usually when they're Amish, they're stuck in the Amish. Yeah. You never know, though. You never know, because there's a girl who used to work in the harness shop. She was single and Amish for a very long time, and I think she left the Amish. I think she found somebody. You never know. If you find one, Mr. Codger, you find one that's single somewhere and you're interested, hang out, offer your services. Is that the proper thing to say? Become friends somehow. Yeah. Never know. It could happen. We sold our house and anything we didn't need. Took the profits from that and paid off a bunch of our debt, kept my Jeep. We pulled behind the motorhome. The stress and anxiety completely disappeared. Yeah, like you don't have to, you know, we're fortunate enough now. We have a bunch of car problems, but we're fortunate enough now to not have a house payment, which is a true blessing. Such a true blessing. It is. It's awesome. We're probably going to have car payments if we buy a Ford Explorer again. We had to get a car loan to do that. So and we'll probably, now that it's paid off by insurance, we'll probably do that again. But and it sucks. It really sucks. But the Ford Escape I had, I bought that on payments and I paid $13,000 for it, you know, and I eventually paid it off, and we still used it another 2000. We still used it another 8 years after it was paid off. So, of course, we paid more because of interest. I think there was probably 5-6% interest at that time on cars. I don't know what they are now, but so it was still, sucks having a car payment. But if you, I would rather they come and take my car than my house. If you know what I mean. Like, we can always walk if we have to. Find other rides to a job if need be. The American dream: shop till you drop and work to pay it off the rest of your life. Exactly, Creative Work. That is just nail on the head. It's what we were kind of raised. Even us in the Amish community were raised as that's just normal. And no, I don't want it. No. Be tempting. I look around me, my world's crumbling. All my vehicles are falling apart. I don't have a garage to fix them in. I'm doing it in the driveway. I'm having to wait out rain. I've done it in the wintertime. We have this tiny house that is full of just our stuff. It's less than 800 square feet. It's discouraging. And I look at my brothers and sisters who have nice big houses, shops and barns, and I get discouraged and envious sometimes. And I look at other people who have these nice new vehicles and a nice, beautiful house with a 0-turn mower. And I wish I could have that. I covet it a little bit. But then I'm reminded, well, they probably have a $2,000 to $3,000 a month mortgage. And maybe the lawnmower's paid off. Maybe they're still making payments on that $5,000-$6,000 lawnmower. They're definitely making $400 or $500 payments on that nice F350 they have, or F150 they have, the $60,000-$70,000 truck. And I'm thinking, you know what? I don't want that, because without a mortgage, I can walk away from my job anytime I want. If I happen to, thankfully worked with some great guys, worked for a great guy. But if I wanted to, if something happened and he made me mad or something or whatever, I could pack up my tools and I could leave, and I wouldn't have to worry about, obviously I'd have to find a job, another job right away to make insurance payments and stuff, but I wouldn't have to worry about losing the house or getting behind on house payments, because we don't have them. And if we lost the one car, we still have 2 others that are paid off. So we have some cushion that way. And it's, if you can do it, get out of debt. We were fortunate to sell our house for more than what we paid for it, and now we're here with this, still in town. It sucks being here, but it is a welcome feeling not having a house payment. Still got those nasty property taxes. But nothing against, somebody wants to, if you are okay with being tied to your job, the RV factories here suck people in. They pay really good. So people go in, they make that $70 to $90 to $100 an hour. Then they buy houses according to that wage. They buy Amish people buy buggies, horses on loan. You can get a buggy loan at the banks around here. Crazy, huh? And they'll buy the $5,000-$6,000 zero turn walk behinds, all that, and more power to them. But now they're stuck. They can't, when they get sick and tired of going in there at 5 o'clock every morning, doing the same thing over and over and over for 10 years, they're stuck. They can't just leave. So where are they going to go and make that kind of money without an education? I mean, you got to be a doctor or a lawyer. Not necessarily, but you don't ditch the factory and go be a plumber or a carpenter or framer for that type of money. So you're stuck. You're trapped, and I don't envy that one bit. They can have it. I don't want it. Matter of fact, I quit the factory because and took a pay cut. I was just tired. I hated the hours. So yeah, get out of debt if all possible, and it's a better life. And Shai says that they've probably done their share of work, but yeah, having debt just keeps rich people richer and you poor for sure. Even a car loan, it's just you're paying when the interest is probably you're paying thousands more than what you paid for the car. But how do you like a house? How do you the cars may be easier. We don't have to have a nice car. We're willing to pay a little bit extra for a nice car, something reliable. And if the economy tanks or something, we lose it. Not a big deal. We'll at least hopefully be able to maintain the house and have bicycles or something. But how do you purchase a property when you're 20 years old without debt? How do you do that? Like you can save up. Let's say you want 5 acres and you start saving up money for those 5 acres. By the time you have enough money saved up for the 5 acres, the price is going to have gone up so much that you have to save more, and you're just gonna you're probably never ever going to be able to outsave. Are you? Maybe I'm not a finance guy, so correct me if I'm wrong. Are you ever going to be able to, without living a peasant life, a horrible, miserable life, outsave the rise of properties? Or do you just bite the bullet and purchase and make the interest payments? My hope would be to when our kids purchase something, that maybe we could build a little house on it and help them pay for it so that it's doubly fast. And then in return, we expect to be fed from their gardens and taken care of when we're old. Is that should be a fair deal, right? I guess we'll have to see with them. They might be so sick and tired of us, they're just going to, say no-go. I have Amish friends that have beautiful homes, and I wonder how they do it. Yeah, where are you from, Creative Woodworks? So there's Amish people who are rich. You can be wealthier when you're Amish. It's just cheaper living the Amish life. You don't spend all your money on a lot of stuff that we do. So you can definitely, you don't have as much cost when you're living Amish, and they put it all into their houses, because what else are they going to put it into? They can go traveling, but they don't do it that much. So I should be going. It's been, how long has it been? Hour and 20 minutes already. I was going to do an hour. Yeah, I got to get out of here. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening to my pity party. We've had a hectic 3 weeks. We will take prayers. That'd be awesome. I feel like it was spiritual warfare. We'll see. We'll see what the future brings. We're going to keep just, lower our shoulders and keep plodding forward. Oh, so you live on the thumb. Okay. up in by towards Saginaw area, somewhere up there, right in Michigan. Yeah, there is Amish up there. No kidding. For some reason, I kept thinking you were Ohio, but yeah, no, they just frugal, hardworking. Amish don't. They kind of try to do everything themselves, um, as much as possible without hiring things out. So, yeah. Henri Codger says, used to be you could find raw property with owner financing. If you stopped making payments, it went back to the owner. So any improvements was a no loss deal for them. Yeah, that's, yeah, there's still some of that around, but, the years ago, a deal on a handshake was possible. Like if you lived in a town, small town, out west or whatever, and you made an agreement, like, hey, you bring the 500 cows and I'll pay you so much down and make payments for the rest of them within a 2-year period. And you shook hands on that deal. That's all it took. No paperwork or nothing like that. And if you backed out on that deal, or you were shady on that deal, or didn't follow through, um, you couldn't make any more deals. Your reputation got out, and nobody would make any more handshake deals with you. Like, it was just final. And the person who got screwed would come after you and make sure things were taken care of. So you can't do the handshake deals anymore, unfortunately. But yeah, land contract is probably, I would encourage, my one video on how young men need to get on it and get their life started, and before they start looking for a wife, get things in order. I would encourage, even now, if you're 40, there's still time, but get a piece of property and do land contract and start paying it off. Start paying it off. I would much rather pay interest to a landowner than I would to the bank. Because if hard times come, if you're a legit dude, if you're honest and you're trying your best, when hard times come, there is a far better chance that landowner will give you a little bit of grace. The bank won't care. The bank has its rules it follows. It'll take the land to get a mortgage, a loan. So land contract is, I think, a good thing if you can, swing that, if you can find something. If these baby boomers could let go of some of their property. But so yeah, the plan for us is still, we have a 3/4 acre, 1 acre hopefully when it's all said and done. Got to buy a 1/4 acre, build a house on it, and go from there. And I'll probably hopefully share some video of that. But yeah, right now we're trying to get our heads above water, and then we'll get back to YouTube hopefully. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys' time watching. You're commenting. It's always very helpful. I guess we'll see you guys around in the videos, in the comments. We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys next time.